Have you ever wondered why exhaustion feels heavier than just a lack of sleep? As if something in your very heart is carrying a weight too vastening. And have you ever asked yourself whether peace is something you must wait years to earn, or if it can arrive in a single breath, in a single shift of seeing? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we enter the living current of the Heart Sutra not as a scroll of ancient syllables, but as a set of companions you can carry through modern life. The Heart Sutra is one of the most recited texts in the Buddhist tradition, often spoken in temples with bells and incense. Yet its true power is not bound to ritual. It can serve as medicine for an exhausted soul, a compass for a scattered mind, a lantern in the tunnel of anxiety. Our focus today will be 3 reminders drawn from its core message. The first, the heart is the source of suffering. Heart as in the beating organ, but as the mind-heart complex that constructs meanings, labels, judgments, and desires. The second, the world rises from the mind. What you see through the coloring of your thoughts. The third, when the mind is pure, freedom is natural, liberation is not imported, it is uncovered. I promise 2 things for this journey. 1. You will see how these reminders can be applied not in abstract monasteries but in offices, bedrooms, and commutes. 2. By the end, you will know how to whisper these lines to yourself when fatigue threatens to take your will, so you can reclaim the present moment without waiting for a grand retreat. First reminder, the heart as the cause of suffering. We often believe suffering comes from outside, the traffic jam, a rude colleague, the dwindling bank account, a failed plan. But the Heart Sutra invites a daring shift. Suffering does not come from things themselves, but from the heart's grasping at them. Consider a glass of water spilled on a desk. One person shrugs, cleans it, and moves on. Another person curses, blames themselves, and spirals into shame. Same event, different suffering. The difference is not in the water, it is in the heart's story about the water. Let's make this even more personal. Imagine you send a message and hours pass without reply. Instantly the heart writes a novel. They don't respect me. Being ignored. I must not matter. The suffering is not in the silence, it is in the script. To see the heart as the source is not to condemn yourself but to gain freedom. Suffering came from outside. You would be powerless. That comes from the heart. You can turn toward it, examine it, and change your relation to it. This reminder is a key that unlocks responsibility. You do not control the weather or the economy or the moods of strangers. You do control how you relate to them. Every time you catch yourself saying, "This is unbearable because of them," you can ask, "What is my heart doing with this?" That question transforms the scene from a cage into a classroom. Second reminder, the world rises from the mind. How we move to the second reminder, the world is shaped by the mind. This is not metaphysical speculation, it is a fact of perception. 2 people walk into the same party. One sees a room of opportunities, laughter, connection. The other sees a room of judgment, rejection, and loneliness. The room is the same, the mind paints the difference. A simple exercise. Look at your hand right now. If you think of it as a aging hand, you may feel sadness. If you think of it as the tool that has carried me through work and care, you may feel gratitude. If you think of it as just cells in temporary arrangement, you may feel neutrality. The hand has not changed, the mind's framing has. When the mind is clouded, the world seems hostile. When the mind is clear, the world feels workable. This does not mean bad events will never occur. It means that how you interpret them, how you place them in the story of your life, determines whether they crush you or strengthen you. Imagine a person who loses their job. One story, this proves I'm worthless. Another story, this is a painful turning, but perhaps it pushes me toward what I was meant to do. The external event is identical, the inner world decides the trajectory. To practice this reminder, ask in any difficult moment, what story is my mind writing right now? And is it the only possible story? You will find that freedom often begins not in changing the facts, but in loosening the monopoly of one interpretation. Third reminder, when the mind is pure, freedom is natural. The third reminder is the sweetest, when the heart is not tangled in craving, and the mind is not busy painting disasters, Peace is not something you import, it is what remains. Think of a pond. When the surface is agitated, you see only ripples. When it still is, it reflects the sky. The pond did not need to import this, it was always there. Your mind is that pond. The sky of freedom is already present. Purity is not something you buy, it is what appears when the mud settles. How do you taste this in practice? Not by trying to erase thoughts, but by seeing them without clinging. Thought arises, I will fail, and instead of wrestling it, you note it to fear thought. You let it pass like a cloud. The more you do this, the more you discover a space in you that is never shaken. A space that is free not because the world is easy, but because you are no longer chained to every ripple. Applying the free reminders in real life. Let's walk through an ordinary week using these reminders as anchors. Monday morning, you spill coffee on your shirt before a meeting. Old habit, panic, curse the day, rudge with shame, new move, pause, whisper, the heart is the cause. You notice the suffering is not in the sting but in your fear of being judged. You change shirts or, if no time, you laugh it off. The meeting passes, the world does not end. Wednesday evening, a friend cancels dinner at the last minute. Old habit, sink into loneliness, assume rejection, you move, the world rises from the mind. You see that the pain comes from the story, they don't care. Another possible story, they are exhausted, and our bond is strong enough to handle rescheduling. You use the free evening to rest or read. Friday afternoon, a deadline looms, anxiety rattles your chest, old habits spin into I'll never make it, I'm doomed. New move, when the mind is pure, freedom is natural. You breathe, name the fear, and focus on the next task instead of the whole mountain. Clarity steadies you. Progress happens. Over time, these small pivots accumulate. You begin to trust that suffering is optional, that your interpretation is flexible, that peace is already in you. Life still brings challenges, but they no longer own you. Personal story, exhaustion, and renewal. Want to share with you the story of Daniel, a nurse during a pandemic. Weeks of long shifts left him hollow. He told himself, I can go on. He snapped at colleagues, felt despair, and even questioned his career. One night, he sat in the break room, pad in hands. A mentor whispered the free reminders into his ear. The heart is the cause. The world rises from the mind. When the mind is pure, freedom is natural. At first, Daniel resisted, but he tried. He saw that his suffering was not only from long hours, but from the thought, I must be perfect or I am failing. He recognized that his mind was painting every patient's death as his fault. He realized that if he could see his work as service rather than proof of worth, the same scenes could feel different. Over weeks, he practiced. Before entering a patient's room, he breathed and whispered, go one step, one act. Slowly, the despair lifted. The hours were still long, the loss is still real, but his mind was no longer his jailer. He found moments of peace even in chaos. Closing reflection. Let us gather the threads. Suffering does not come from the world, it comes from the heart's clinging. World is not fixed, it is painted by the mind. And when the mind clears, peace is not a prize but a return to your true nature. Ask yourself tonight, which of these reminders do you most need right now? Is it to see that your heart, not the traffic or the pause, is the cause of your tension? Is it to remember that the story you are telling is just one of many possible stories? Or is it to trust that beneath the noise, freedom is already yours? Invite you to practice whispering these reminders when you feel most tired. The heart is the cause. The world rises from the mind. When the mind is pure, freedom is natural. Let these sentences be companions on your pillow, on your commute, in your meetings, and in your moments of doubt. The more you carry them, the more they carry you. Share with us in the comments, which reminder resonates with you today? How will you use it in the coming week? And if this message touched you, please like, subscribe, and support this channel so we can keep exploring these ancient teachings as modern practices of freedom. Thank you for watching this video.
Before you leave, here's something special. In Buddhism, we believe that every encounter carries a deeper meaning. Would you like to discover your true soul connection, the one written into your destiny? Take the Soulmate Test today and unveil the hidden truths of your journey. Click the link below and begin your path now.
http://soulmate. You wisdom more, come, white.